Hello, sis? I'm looking at souvenirs right now. What would you like?
And where have you been without contacting me until now?
Huh? You tried to contact me? I didn't notice. Did something happen?
To think you can be so carefree. We're in the middle of a funeral.
A funeral? What do you mean? Whose?
Your daughter's.
What? What do you mean? The day my niece Sarah collapsed was the day my sister said she was going on a trip and left her with me. Despite knowing she had a fever, my sister left her child behind. I tried contacting her numerous times with no response, and by the time she finally got back to me, it was too late. I couldn't help but feel angry. I've been married for 4 years, but not being able to have children has been a concern. We started planning for a family right after getting married, trying multiple times without success, and here we are. My sister had a shotgun wedding 2 years ago but divorced her husband within 6 months. Since then, she's been dumping her child on me every chance she gets. It's good practice for when you have your own kids in the future, so it's fine, right? She would always say this when leaving her child with me. Each time, I felt conflicted, but I took her in because it wasn't my niece's fault. But being taken for granted like this has really worn me out. And now again. I'm going on a trip with some friends for a week starting tomorrow, so I need you to take care of Sarah again.
Again? I just took care of her last week.
Last week was for work, so it couldn't be helped.
Can't you ask our parents once in a while? I have plans too.
What plans could a stay-at-home wife possibly have? It's fine, right?
But to ask for a whole week.
I'll buy you a nice souvenir, and it's an international trip I've had planned for a while, so I can't cancel.
Then you should take Sarah with you.
Having a child around is bothersome to others, and I want to enjoy myself alone.
Sarah will feel lonely, and you're being too selfish.
That's why I'm bringing her over before I leave tomorrow.
Bye.
Hanging up the phone unilaterally left me sighing. I decided to talk to my husband about it when he returned from work. Really? That's the situation? Yes, that's why I need your help too. Sorry, but I'm going to be on a business trip starting tomorrow. Really? How long will you be gone? 5 days, maybe a week if the negotiations drag on. So, I have to take care of her by myself? I'm sorry, but it's for work. I understand. If it gets too tough, maybe you should talk to Mom. The thought of having to care for her alone for a week was almost too much for me. My niece was very attached to my husband. Probably because she doesn't have a father, she must see my husband as a father figure. There was a time when I was taking care of her, and she cried so much at night that I didn't know what to do. That time, my husband calmed the situation, but now, I'm alone. The thought of the same thing happening again filled me with anxiety. Then, on the day of my sister's trip, my husband had left early for a business trip, and I was waiting for my sister by myself. Take care, okay? With those words, my sister hurried out the door. But at that moment, I noticed something off with my niece. Hey! Sarah, your face looks a bit red.
Yeah.
Seems like she's had a bit of a fever since the morning.
What? You're leaving her in this condition?
Well, we've been looking forward to this trip for a while now. There's no way we're not going.
Even so, with the child having a fever. At least take her to the doctor.
It's not a big deal, really. If you're so worried, why don't you take her? I've got to go now, my flight's soon.
Wait a minute.
Think of it as good practice for when your own kid gets sick. You can learn a lot.
Bye.
Then. I couldn't believe she was going on a trip leaving a sick child behind. Looking at my listless niece, an indescribable anxiety washed over me. She's only too young for over-the-counter medication. Luckily, it seemed to be just a slight fever, so I cooled her forehead and put her to bed. Not knowing what to do, I called my mom. Mom. She's dumped Sarah on me again, and this time for a trip. And Sarah seems to have a fever. What should I do? Calm down. How high is the fever? It's just a slight fever now. Then let's wait and see. If she starts having seizures or convulsions, call an ambulance right away. Got it. Call me if anything happens, okay? My mom's words eased my anxiety a bit, but the thought of enduring this for a week was unbearable. Even if it was just a slight fever, it was painful to watch her small body fighting it. Then, that night, Sarah's condition suddenly worsened. Her fever spiked, and seeing her in distress, I panicked and called an ambulance. I also called my sister, but for some reason, I couldn't get through no matter how many times I tried.
Why isn't this working? Could it be because she's overseas?
I then tried to reach my husband, but to no avail. Either out of range or met with a relentless automated message, I couldn't get through. Crushed by anxiety, I called my mom, and she came right over.
Mom, what do I do?
It's okay. The doctors are with her, there's no need to worry. But despite the treatment, Sarah's condition only got worse. I tried to contact my sister every hour, but never got through. And 4 days later.
No, that can't be. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sarah had passed away. A 2-year-old child, gone without seeing her mother one last time, left me in inconsolable tears. It's not your fault. There was nothing you could do. I know, but still. And why can't we get through to her? What is she even doing? If I had known this would happen, I should have at least asked for her hotel. Crushed by regret, I had no choice but to leave Sarah's body with a funeral home. Unable to contact either my sister or my husband, all I could do was wait for his return from the business trip, which was due the next day. Seeing how exhausted I was, my mother suggested I take a break, and for the first time in 4 days, I managed to get a decent night's sleep. The next day, I tried contacting my sister again from the morning, but, as before, to no avail. And my husband, who was supposed to return, did not. Wondering if his business meeting had been extended, I decided to call his office. To my surprise, I was told he wasn't on a business trip but had taken a week off. A bad feeling washed over me. I had tried not to think about it, but Sarah was very attached to my husband, and at the same time, he was very close to my sister. He often called her cute right in front of me, and she seemed pleased with it. And when my sister left Sarah with us, it was often when my husband would come home late, and lately, they had been coming home together. Once I started doubting, more and more questions arose. They were gone on the same days, and the duration was the same. Could this really be a coincidence? I wondered if there was any evidence and checked my sister's Instagram. There, I found photos from 2 days ago, of her enjoying room service in a hotel room. Looking closely at the photos, I saw my husband's reflection in the mirror. I was convinced they were having an affair. An affair on a trip, leaving behind a sick child, and with her sister's husband, at that. Absolutely unforgivable. I saved the images and, between preparing for Sarah's funeral, obtained divorce papers. 2 days later, Sarah's funeral was held with only close family present.
Why isn't she here?
Still no contact? That's right.
Not attending her own child's funeral. What kind of mother is that? Unbelievable.
As my parents were expressing their anger, I finally got a call from my sister. Hello, sis? I'm at the airport right now, looking at souvenirs. I'm coming back today and was wondering what you'd like as a thank you for taking care of Sarah.
What have you been doing all this time?
On a trip, but...
Why didn't you answer any of my calls?
Oh. Sorry, I didn't notice. Maybe because I was overseas? Anyway, is there something you want?
We're in the middle of a funeral right now.
A funeral? For whom?
Your daughter.
What? What do you mean?
Sarah passed away 2 days ago. Wait, I don't understand. It's because you left Sarah with a fever. She was calling for her mama till the end.
Oh.
You might as well have killed your own child.
Just wait a minute.
If you can't believe it, come back quickly.
That night, to my disbelief, my sister returned with my husband. Seeing my sister break down in tears before the portrait and my husband comforting her, I felt a surge of revulsion. I'm so sorry. If I had been there. I'm really sorry.
I hate to ask while you're upset, but I have a question. What? I've been trying to contact you every day since the night you left for your trip. I called, emailed, and messaged you, but never got a reply. Why? That's because I was overseas. My phone didn't work. Is that so? Then what's this?
I then showed her the photos from her Instagram.
This photo was posted 4 days ago, right? That means you could at least use your phone in the hotel. That is. You noticed my attempts to contact you but chose not to reply because it was inconvenient, right? That's why you never opened the messages on WhatsApp. But really, you just didn't want to talk to me, did I guess right? That's not true. Then, let's ask the other person in this photo. The other person? Hey, did you enjoy your trip with my sister?
I zoomed in on the photo and showed it to my husband and sister, their faces turning pale. My parents were also shocked to see the photo.
This reflection in the mirror is unmistakably you. What do you have to say? Could it be someone who looks like me? I mean, I was supposed to be on a business trip. I called your office. They told me you were on a week's leave. If it wasn't you, then where were you? You must have had a great time posting such a photo. But you were a bit careless, weren't you? I never thought I'd be caught in the photo. I'm sorry.
Finally, the two of them admitted to their affair, which infuriated my parents.
What are you doing? Leaving your child for an affair trip, that's outrageous. Unforgivable. You're no longer a daughter to us. We disown you. We've tolerated you because you're a single mother, but think of how much money we've given you. I'd ask for it all back if I could, but consider it severance. I don't ever want to see your face again. Wait, Mom, Dad. Quiet. Don't ever come back to this house. Sis, please say something. What should I say? You're entirely at fault. You should regret what you've done for the rest of your life.
Unable to forgive my sister for her disregard for her own child's life, I spoke coldly. She kept crying and apologizing to Sarah, but Sarah would never return. And of course, I could never forgive my husband, who had stayed by my sister's side through it all.
This involves you too. What do you mean? Sign this now. We'll discuss the alimony through lawyers. A divorce? Why? Why? It's obvious. I can't believe you'd go after your wife's sister. I don't want to be with someone so disgusting. Wait! I was wrong. We can talk this out. Talk? With someone who lied about a business trip to go on a romantic getaway? Impossible. No, that's... Any further discussion will be through lawyers.
I filed the divorce papers and managed to get a settlement of $50,000 from the two of them. I left the house and returned to my parents. I'm back again. Sorry. What are you talking about? You're our only daughter, and there's nothing to worry about. That's right. Better to be here than with some weirdo. You're always welcome. I'll be imposing on you for a while. It seems my sister and husband ended up together but didn't last due to incompatible values, separating after about half a year. My sister, burdened with the alimony payments, had to work day and night, now living modestly in a run-down apartment. My husband worked for a while but left after the affair became known at his workplace. After paying off the alimony, his whereabouts became unknown. Not that it matters to me now. I'm living a peaceful and content life, free from being burdened by others. Planning a trip with my parents, I'm enjoying a sense of freedom I haven't felt in a long time. Though I'm fine on my own for now, I still hope to have children someday and meet someone wonderful.